Hey there, you looking kinda cute. Don't forget to subscribe and check out my other socials for more. Enjoy. The duffel bag hit the floor with a soft thud as he stepped inside the unfamiliar foyer. Warm vanilla scents wafted from the kitchen, mingling with the faint aroma of lavender air freshener. "Come on in, sweetie. Make yourself at home," called a cheerful voice from deeper within the house. He hesitated, fingers fidgeting with the strap of his backpack. This weekend away from home felt strange already, staying with his mom's friend while she was out of town on business. At least Tammy would be here too. As if on cue, rapid footsteps thundered down the stairs and a blur of copper hair came flying at him. "You're here!" Tammy squealed, tackling him in a fierce hug that nearly knocked him off balance. "This is going to be so much fun!" He couldn't help but grin, her enthusiasm infectious as always. "Hey, Tam," he laughed, returning the embrace. "Thanks for letting me crash here." She pulled back, hazel eyes sparkling with excitement. "Are you kidding? A whole weekend to hang out? It's going to be awesome." Miss Johnson appeared in the doorway, wiping her hands on a dish towel. "I hope you're hungry, hun. Dinner's almost ready." "Starving," he admitted. The nerves of staying somewhere new had killed his appetite earlier, but now his stomach grumbled at the mention of food. "Perfect timing, then," Miss Johnson smiled warmly. "Why don't you two get washed up while I finish setting the table?" Tammy grabbed his hand, already tugging him towards the stairs. "Come on, I'll show you where you're sleeping." He allowed himself to be pulled along, grateful for her boundless energy. It helped ease the awkwardness he felt imposing on their home. Upstairs, Tammy flung open a door to reveal a cozy guest room. Ta-da! Home sweet home for the weekend. He set his bags down, taking in the floral wallpaper and lace curtains. It was frilly, but clean and welcoming. "Bathroom's right across the hall," Tammy informed him. "Oh, and I cleared out some drawer space for you." She yanked open the dresser. "See? Thanks, Tam. You didn't have to do all that." She waved off his gratitude. "Please, it's no big deal. I'm just so excited you're here." Her eyes lit up. "Ooh, we should have a movie marathon tonight, or maybe dinner time!" Miss Johnson's voice floated up the stairs, cutting off Tammy's rambling. "Coming?" Tammy called back. She flashed him a grin. "Race you downstairs!" Before he could respond, she was already sprinting for the door. He shook his head, chuckling as he followed at a more sedate pace. Same old Tammy. Dinner was a lively affair, Miss Johnson peppering him with questions about school and his plans for the future between bites of lasagna. He did his best to answer politely, still feeling slightly out of place. "Oh, before I forget," Miss Johnson said as they were finishing up, "I've got book club tomorrow evening, so you two will be on your own for a few hours." Tammy perked up. "Ooh, can we order pizza?" Her mother laughed. "Sure, why not? Just don't stay up too late, okay?" "Yes!" Tammy pumped her fist triumphantly. She turned to him, grinning. "Pizza and movies tomorrow night. It's gonna be epic." He nodded, returning her smile. Maybe this weekend wouldn't be so bad after all. After helping clear the table, they retreated to the living room. Tammy sprawled across the couch, remote in hand as she flicked through Netflix options. "Any preferences?" she asked. He shrugged, settling into an armchair. "Whatever you want is fine." She rolled her eyes. "Come on, you gotta have an opinion. Action? Comedy? Ooh, what about a scary movie?" Maybe not scary," he hedged. Horror films tended to give him nightmares, not that he'd ever admit it. "Wuss," Tammy teased, but her tone was fond. "Fine. How about this one?" She highlighted a romantic comedy. He raised an eyebrow. "Seriously?" "What? They're fun." She stuck out her tongue. "Unless you'd rather watch cars go vroom vroom for 2 hours." He held up his hands in surrender. All right, rom-com it is." Tammy whooped in victory, hitting play before tossing him a throw pillow. He caught it reflexively, giving her a quizzical look. "In case you need something to hide behind during the mushy parts," she explained with a wink. He lobbed the pillow back at her, laughing. I think I'll manage. As the opening credits rolled, he found himself relaxing. This was familiar territory, hanging out with his best friend, trading quips and inside jokes. The unfamiliar surroundings faded into the background. The movie wasn't half bad, he had to admit. Though he'd never say it out loud, he kind of enjoyed the witty banter and meet-cute scenarios. Tammy provided running commentary throughout, pointing out plot holes and swooning dramatically over the lead actor. Okay, but who actually falls in love that fast? She scoffed as the main couple shared their first kiss. So unrealistic. He shrugged. I don't know, sometimes when you know, right? Tammy's eyebrows shot up. Ooh, look who's the secret romantic, she teased. Got your eye on someone back home? Heat crept up his neck. What? No, I just meant, theoretically. She studied him for a moment, then broke into a sly grin. Uh-huh, sure. He grabbed a throw pillow and chucked it at her head. Oh, shut up. Tammy caught it easily, giggling. Make me! Their bickering devolved into a full-on pillow fight, the movie forgotten as they lobbed cushions back and forth. By the time Miss Johnson poked her head in to say goodnight, they were both breathless with laughter, surrounded by scattered pillows. I see you two are settling in nicely, she observed wryly. Try not to destroy my living room, okay? Sorry, Mom, Tammy wheezed, still clutching her sides. We'll clean up. Miss Johnson shook her head fondly. All right, well, don't stay up too late. Good night, you two. They chorused their goodnights as she headed upstairs. Once her footsteps faded, Tammy turned to him with a mischievous glint in her eye. Wanna raid the kitchen for snacks and keep watching movies? He grinned. You read my mind. They tiptoed to the kitchen, giggling and shushing each other as they gathered an impressive array of chips, cookies, and sodas. Sneaking back to the living room felt delightfully rebellious, even though they weren't actually breaking any rules. As they settled in for another movie, this time an action flick at his request, he found himself marveling at how easy it was to be around Tammy. They'd been friends for years, but moments like this reminded him how lucky he was to have her in his life. The night wore on, movies blurring together as they alternated between watching and chatting. Eventually, Tammy's responses grew slower, her words slurring slightly with fatigue. Maybe we should call it a night, he suggested gently. She yawned, stretching like a cat. Yeah, probably smart. What time is it anyway? He checked his phone and winced. 3 a.m. Tammy's eyes widened. Crap, no wonder I'm exhausted. Mom's gonna kill us if we sleep till noon. They hastily cleaned up their snack debris, trying to erase the evidence of their movie marathon. As they reached the top of the stairs, Tammy surprised him with another quick hug. Night, she murmured. I'm really glad you're here. He squeezed her back. Me too, Tam. Sweet dreams. In the guest room, he changed into pajamas and flopped onto the bed. Despite the late hour, he found himself wide awake, mind buzzing with the events of the day. It was strange being in a different house, surrounded by unfamiliar sounds and scents. But Tammy's presence made it feel like home. He drifted off eventually, lulled by the steady tick of a grandfather clock downstairs. Morning arrived far too soon, sunlight streaming through the lace curtains. He groaned, burrowing deeper under the covers. Maybe if he ignored it, the day would wait a little longer to start. A sharp knock on the door dashed that hope. Rise and shine, sleepyhead, Tammy's voice called. Mom made pancakes. His stomach growled at the mention of food. Resigned to consciousness, he dragged himself out of bed and fumbled for clean clothes. Downstairs, the kitchen was alive with morning bustle. Miss Johnson stood at the stove, expertly flipping pancakes while Tammy set the table. The aroma of coffee and syrup filled the air. Good morning, Miss Johnson greeted cheerfully. Sleep well? He nodded, stifling a yawn. Yes, thank you. The guest room is very comfortable. She beamed. I'm so glad. Now, how many pancakes can I get you? Don't be shy. Breakfast was a leisurely affair, conversation flowing easily between bites of fluffy pancakes and crisp bacon. As they finished up, Miss Johnson glanced at her watch. "Oh, I need to run a few errands before book club tonight. Will you two be all right on your own for a bit?" Tammy nodded. "No worries, Mom. We can entertain ourselves." "I'm sure you can," Miss Johnson chuckled. "Just try not to burn the house down while I'm gone, okay?" After she left, Tammy turned to him with a gleam in her eye. "So, what should we do first? I've got some ideas." He eyed her warily. "Why do I feel like I should be scared?" She laughed. "Relax. I was thinking we could bake cookies or something. Take advantage of having the kitchen to ourselves." Relief washed over him. "Oh, yeah, that sounds fun, actually." They spent the next hour scouring cookbooks and debating flavor combinations before settling on classic chocolate chip. As they gathered ingredients, flour inevitably ended up everywhere. On the counter, the floor, and liberally dusting their clothes. "You've got some, He gestured vaguely at Tammy's face, trying not to laugh. She went cross-eyed, attempting to see. "What? Where?" Unable to contain his amusement any longer, he reached out and brushed a smear of flour off her nose. "There." Tammy's eyes widened briefly before a wicked grin spread across her face. Before he could react, she had scooped up a handful of flour and flung it at him. "Oh, it is on," he declared, grabbing for the bag. What followed was an all-out flour war, shrieks of laughter echoing through the kitchen as they pelted each other with handfuls of white powder. By the time a truce was called, they were both thoroughly coated. "We should probably clean up before your mom gets back," he suggested, surveying the damage. Tammy nodded, still giggling. "Yeah, good call. You take the kitchen, I'll grab the vacuum." They set about restoring order, managing to get most of the flour cleaned up by the time the oven timer dinged. The smell of fresh-baked cookies filled the air as Tammy pulled out the tray. "They smell amazing," he said, peering over her shoulder. She grinned. "Right? Totally worth the mess." As the cookies cooled, they headed upstairs to change out of their flour-covered clothes. He had just pulled on a clean shirt when Tammy's voice drifted through the door. "Hey, can I come in? I need your opinion on something." "Sure," he called back, curious. Tammy entered, holding up 2 dresses. "Which one do you think I should wear to Allie's party next week?" He blinked, caught off guard. I don't really know much about dresses." She rolled her eyes. "I'm not asking for a fashion critique, just which one you like better, the blue or the green?" He studied them for a moment. "I guess the blue. It brings out your eyes." Tammy beamed. "See? Was that so hard? Thanks." She hesitated, then added, "Actually, while we're on the topic, want to see my makeup collection? I just got some new stuff I've been dying to try out." He shifted uncomfortably. "I don't know, Tam. That's not really my thing." "Oh, come on," she wheedled. "It'll be fun. You can be my test subject." Before he could protest further, she had grabbed his hand and was pulling him towards her room. He found himself perched on the edge of her bed, surrounded by an array of colorful compacts and tubes. "Okay, close your eyes," Tammy instructed, wielding a brush. He complied reluctantly, bracing himself. The brush tickled as it swept across his eyelids, followed by the cool glide of what he assumed was eyeliner. Tammy hummed to herself as she worked, occasionally muttering things like "blend, blend, blend" under her breath. After what felt like an eternity, she announced, "All done, take a look." He opened his eyes cautiously, turning to face her vanity mirror. His jaw dropped. The person staring back at him was different, striking. His eyes looked huge and luminous, framed by long, dark lashes. A hint of shimmer highlighted his cheekbones. "Wow," he breathed, unable to look away. Tammy bounced excitedly. "Right? You look amazing. I knew these colors would suit you." He touched his face gingerly, half expecting the illusion to shatter. But the reflection remained, both familiar and utterly foreign. I don't know what to say," he admitted. Tammy's expression softened. You don't have to say anything, but how does it make you feel? He considered the question, searching for the right words. Powerful, he said finally. Like I could be anyone or do anything. She nodded, a knowing glint in her eye. That's the magic of makeup. It's not about hiding who you are, it's about enhancing what's already there, bringing out different facets of yourself. He turned back to the mirror, studying his transformed face. It was strange, but not in a bad way. More like discovering a hidden part of himself he never knew existed. Want to try on some clothes to match? Tammy asked tentatively. He hesitated, then nodded. Yeah, I think I do. What followed was a whirlwind of fabric and laughter as Tammy raided her closet, pulling out various outfits for him to try. Some were absurd, a frilly pink tutu that barely fit over one leg, while others were surprisingly wearable. He found himself drawn to a flowing peasant blouse and high-waisted jeans. The soft material felt nice against his skin, so different from his usual t-shirts and basketball shorts. How do I look? He asked, giving an experimental twirl. Tammy clapped her hands together. Fabulous! Oh my God, we have to take pictures! Before he could object, she had whipped out her phone and was snapping away. He struck a few silly poses, getting into the spirit of things. As they scrolled through the photos afterward, giggling at their antics, he felt a surge of affection for his best friend. Tammy had always accepted him unconditionally, encouraging him to explore and express himself without judgment. Thanks for this, he said softly. For everything. She bumped his shoulder gently. That's what friends are for, right? To help you discover new sides of yourself. He nodded, feeling a lump form in his throat. I've never really thought about this stuff before. Makeup and clothes and all that. It always seemed so separate from my world, you know? Tammy hummed thoughtfully. I get that. Society puts all these expectations on us about how we're supposed to look and act based on our gender. But at the end of the day, they're just constructs. You should be free to explore whatever interests you, regardless of whether it's traditionally masculine or feminine. Her words resonated deeply, articulating feelings he hadn't even realized he'd been grappling with. Yeah, he murmured. Yeah, exactly. They lapsed into comfortable silence, each lost in their own thoughts. After a while, Tammy spoke up again. You know, if you ever want to experiment more with this stuff, I'm always here. No judgment, just support. He smiled, warmth blooming in his chest. I know, and I really appreciate that, Tammy. The moment was broken by the sound of the front door opening. I'm home! Miss Johnson called from downstairs. They exchanged panicked looks before bursting into laughter. Guess we lost track of time, Tammy giggled. Better get changed before Mom sees and starts asking questions. As he hurried back to the guest room to change, he caught another glimpse of himself in the mirror. The makeup was still there, a reminder of the afternoon's adventures. He touched his cheek gently, marveling at how such a small thing could make him feel so different. For the first time, he truly understood why people said makeup could be empowering. It wasn't about conforming to society's standards of beauty or trying to be someone else. It was about self-expression, about choosing how to present yourself to the world. He changed quickly, reluctantly washing off the makeup. But as he stared at his bare face in the bathroom mirror, he realized something had shifted. He saw himself differently now, more aware of the various facets that made up his identity. This weekend with Tammy had opened his eyes to a whole new world of possibilities. He didn't know if he'd continue exploring makeup and feminine clothing, but he was grateful for the experience. It had broadened his understanding not just of himself, but of the complex tapestry of human expression. As he headed downstairs to join Tammy and her mom, he felt a sense of peace settle over him. Whatever the future held, he knew he had a true friend in Tammy, someone who would support him unconditionally as he navigated the twists and turns of self-discovery. The aroma of pizza greeted him as he entered the kitchen. Tammy flashed him a conspiratorial wink, and he grinned back. This weekend had been full of surprises, but the best part was the strengthened bond with his best friend. As they gathered around the table, laughing and sharing stories of their day, he felt truly at home. Not because of the physical surroundings, but because of the people who filled it with warmth and acceptance. This weekend away from home had turned into so much more than he ever expected. It was a journey of self-discovery, of pushing boundaries and challenging preconceptions. And as he looked at Tammy's smiling face across the table, he knew it was just the beginning. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out my other socials if you want more wonderful content, early access, behind the scenes, and more. All links down below.